Okay, welcome everyone. This is the mastermind with the 2 to 4 stars in the West region. I'm super excited to be here with you guys today. What is today? February 11th, so halfway through Team Cup. So make sure that you and your Team Cup team are rocking. You still have plenty of time. You've definitely got to get to that first tier prize at least. It's awesome this year. So let me know if you have any questions with that. We are just fresh off of new leadership conference, so hopefully you had some coaches there. Hopefully that all went well. If you have any questions about that, definitely reach out to me. But today we have like the coolest guest in the world, and I'm really, really, really excited to have her. I've been working with Jamie for about 2 years, and she is a 2-time elite, I believe. She's a 7-star, and she ended up as number 21 in the network. Guys, she knows her stuff, and what I love about Jamie so much is she's pretty much still brand new. Like, she hasn't been a coach for that long and has been able to come on and like get this and run with it. And so I have tons of questions for her. I hope you guys do too. But Jamie, why don't you start off by telling us a little bit about yourself, about your Beachbody journey so far, and then kind of where you're at today with it.
Yeah, so thank you for that intro. I started 2 years ago, and I was a personal trainer, a SoulCycle instructor, various boot camp instructor, just teaching everywhere. And I was also nannying during the day. So my schedule was absolutely insane. When I first started, I was teaching like 20 classes a week, but also nannying like a couple hours every single day and just hustling, living that hustling like lifestyle, just every hour on the hour I was busy. And so I was approached by tons of Beachbody coaches before. I wanted nothing to do with this business, essentially because I didn't even know who these weird people were that were reaching out to me. And, I had just only heard you'd be so good at this. This would be amazing for you. And to me, on my end, I was like, you don't even know me and my situation. And at that point, I wasn't like sharing my life and my journey. So it didn't make sense that people were reaching out to me, and I just had nothing. I wanted nothing to do with this company. I thought it was, that whole MLM thing really turned me off. And I thought I was, I guess you could say, like better than it and just above it. And so I think it took me, until I really trusted someone, which one of my writers kept coming to my class, kept showing up. She kept telling me that I'd be great at it, but I still wanted nothing to do with it, but I would still like follow her on social media, and we had a really close relationship. I supported her. She supported me without her being too much. She invited me, I'd say like a couple times every month, and I never really wanted to join until I got to a point like 6 months into her inviting me, basically, where I was just in a really bad spot. I got denied a lot of time off. I kind of started to think about my future and having kids and a family. And I just knew I couldn't live the way that I was living. And so I kind of just started to think more and saw her lifestyle. And it was really just the combination of the trust and persistence that she showed, and just me being ready to join, essentially, right? It was like the time that I needed to have to sign up. And so when I signed up, I just really went all in, like from day one with the 21-day fix. I was like, I have to like see for myself if this aligns with me. And I did my first program and like was literally obsessed with it. It was the first time for me personally that I had even like showed up for myself, which was cool because, I was used to pouring into so many people all the time that my body had just completely changed, my mindset. And so from there, I just like couldn't stop talking about it, screaming it from the rooftops. And so yeah, I've been coaching for 2 years now. I thankfully was able to leave all of the other jobs that I was doing pretty quickly, but I just recently left SoulCycle, which was never really part of the plan ever. I just got to a point now where I was just like, I love this so much, and it's supplemented way more than I ever could have imagined. Beachbody, guarantees no level of success, income disclaimer, but it's just been such an incredible process and journey, and I've loved every second of it. So now I'm full-time coaching, and yeah, here we are.
I love that. I love that it took trust for you to join. Like, you trusted someone, so you're like, okay, I'm ready, which I think is a huge key component when we are talking to our following. Okay, so guys, you guys have questions. I'll let you guys start asking them, and then I have some as well. You guys can take yourself off mute. You can put them in the chat. This call's for you.
I have a question.
Yes.
Okay. So I have to go outside. My kid's sleeping. Okay. You do a post talking about coaching. Someone says, I would love to find out more. From that point, what is your next step? Are you conversing with them? You send them an email, you send them video links, you send them to a website. What do you do?
So currently, I mean, I think a huge part of this is like you have to constantly be like evolving and figuring out what works, because like what worked for me 6 months ago, like I don't feel like is working anymore. So right now, currently, what I'm doing, what I found to be working, I used to do like sneak peeks and 3 days, 1 day. Like I just have bounced around with a ton of different things, and they've all worked at different times in my business. But currently, right now, I personally feel like I'm speaking to a lot of people who are like me, like the busy person, and doesn't have time to like sit on a 3-day Facebook thing or the things that I used to do. I found like I was sending people like these 30-minute links or just like this long, lengthy thing to chat with them about when like they weren't even watching it. So now currently I send them, like I like to schedule a call with people right away. Like if they're interested, let's hop on a call and chat about it. So I schedule a call, which I like to have like that week, if they're like okay with that. And then before we actually hop on a call, I try to send them a video that is like literally 7 minutes that really is going to kind of take away all of the details that I would have to explain to her on the phone. Just talks about like what we do physically. We set people up with programs, like the whole challenge group, explaining that, a really simple form of like how the compensation plan works. And then that's kind of it. So just so they have like that part, and that when we hop on a call, we can talk about their hesitations, their goals, like what they're looking for. And then I can really speak to them as like a human instead of just like a 1 hour conversation of like what we are and what we do. So that is what's working for me right now, just because I want to, when I hop on a call with someone, I want to hear like, why do they want to do this? I want to hear what they're looking for, what their goals are, and what's stopping them, because then I can really speak to them where a video can't do that.
So you're like right away, your first message back to them is like, hey, awesome. I'm glad you want to find out more. Let's chat on the phone this week. When are you free?
Like in a way, yes, without it being like as aggressive. Like I say, amazing. Like I have, you know, a couple options. If you want me to send you a video, I kind of give them an option.
Okay.
Like obvious, most people are like, I feel like since they've been following me for a while, like do want to hop on a call. I really don't cold message or anything like that. So I do feel like a lot of the people I'm hopping on calls with feel like we are already best friends in the first place. So yeah, like I'll send them a voice note and say like, amazing, like would love to chat more with you. If you are interested in hopping in a call, would love to talk to you about like all the details. And if not, I actually made this video that kind of goes over everything. If that is easier for you, like let me know. So I try to get them on the phone because I do feel like it's that trust, right? That's like the extra layer and level of communication and trust that I can have with them to show them like I'm a real, you know, we're just like shooting the shit kind of like talking person. So
okay. Thanks.
yeah.
Do you have that video on like a coach landing page, like on your website, or is it on YouTube, or where do you send
Yeah,
it?
it's just like a YouTube video. It's literally, so it's basically what I used to do for, and I think what a lot of coaches do for like sneak peeks. You know, one day is like a quick little overview of like how I got started. The next day usually was like the compensation plan or what we do as coaches. And then the third was like one or the other. So now I've just kind of like made one YouTube video. I try to keep it as short as possible, short and concise as possible, within like an 8-minute range. Cause I feel like me personally, I was never going to watch like a 35-minute video. So I just try to think of like who I'm speaking to, and it's usually me on the other end of like a similar person. So I try to keep it within that 8 to 10 minutes range. And it's just, yeah, I just send them a link either through their DMs or through a phone call, or I mean, through an email. So that doesn't mean like I'm hopping in a call with every person and every person saying yes, like that's definitely not the case. I just have found more of a turnover and conversion rate of people like who actually feel like, you know, I care about them specifically enough to chat with them more.
Okay, so Kendra said, since you were turned off by weird people online inviting you, I'm assuming you don't cold invite. How do you build relationships and trust?
I never cold invite. I actually I really am so against it. And I feel like as a network in general, we need to be better at just not doing that, because it just is such a turnoff personally. And I feel like it kind of gives um, MLMs like a bad name. And I always have other brands and people reaching out to me, just saying these things that I just am always so thrown off by it. And even now I'm in the industry, so I know, but I've always had just such a negative experience and feeling towards that type of feeling. So I build relationships and trust the way that I can connect with someone. So I'm usually spending a lot of my time connecting with people, meaning finding people through either hashtags or similar places I hang out, or hobbies or things, right? You're supposed to find your niche. For me, I connect with a lot of instructors and trainers and people who are love fitness, because for me, that's my jam. I just have always been really passionate about exercise. I also used to be a teacher, so I kind of connect with a lot of teachers. Different things. I love golden retrievers. I'm a newlywed. So those are kind of my things right now, my themes that I feel I connect with people with. And it's as simple as just liking and commenting. And nothing has to do with Beachbody. It's just more of engaging with them, replying to their stories. And it's I keep everybody, it's not just I do it one time. I keep everybody in this funnel of people that I'm connecting with that month that I think are going to be amazing coaches, so that it's really all month I'm trying to build a relationship with them and have that kind of connection, instead of before I'm kind of inviting them anything about Beachbody. And of course the goal is for them to follow me, for them to watch my stuff, and naturally, hopefully there will be new followers and new story watchers, which then it will obviously speak for itself. But I really try not to right off the bat invite them to Beachbody or talk about Beachbody at all, and just want to connect with them over just life things, you know.
Okay, guys, what are your questions?
Don't be shy.
If not, I have a whole bunch. Okay, well, I'll kind of start it. So you are extremely good at bringing people in and getting them to hit Success Club. So what is your strategy of your onboarding system and then getting them to start working right away?
Yeah. So something that I feel is the most necessary, because I used to feel really confused about getting a coach started at when they were brand new, but also they've never done a program. And so it all just seems there's a lot for them to get started. And you can't authentically share about this unless you feel passionate about what we do, right? Our program. So I really believe their journey is number one. So I just kind of share exactly what I did. I say, we set them up with a program, whoever's getting started, and if they're an old client, this is different, but I'm talking if they're brand new, I set them up with the program that I best think that they're going to be best for. And I talk about let's not even worry for your first week or two. Let's just get you to do the workouts, feel how good this is going to feel. And then within the first week, what you can do is also, you're basically going to make your initial investment back if you can get 3 people to join you. And how you do that is just by sharing little bits and pieces of the workouts and what the nutrition looks like. And people are going to start asking you questions. So I try to take off that initial pressure of, okay, invite to a challenge group, let's do this and that. And more of just get started with a program. I have an open kind of community challenge group where if they do have people that want to jump in or ask questions right away, they just can allow them to throw them in that. They don't have to start coaching and have it be this whole stressful thing, that they can literally just invite a couple of their friends. And I share a lot about how when I started, it wasn't I had people knocking on my door. I had a couple of my friends. I was do you want to do this with me? So I really just say your goal in your first month is try to see if you can get 3 of your friends or 3 people you know to do this with you. And it's really just going to start by you asking them and sharing a little bit about it and talking to people that you love and that trust you already. So I try to focus a lot on their journey, because I feel when people come into it in the opposite approach, especially instructors and personal trainers that I've brought on that just right away want to take off with the business, but they don't even really ever dive into the programs. it's just you can't be successful without that initial part first.
I love that. It's kind of the vital process way. So you have them come doing a program, and then you just say, start inviting 3 people. Because what's interesting is I just did the calculations. You had on average about 9 PS coaches hit Success Club a month last year. That's a lot. 9, and they had to be 2018, 2019 last year. So they come in, they do a program, and then how do you get them to start working?
So, I mean, I try to hop on calls with them, often. I give them like some individual time, but also like within my new coaches, like a group. And I just every week am telling them, what they need to be doing. Like, I'm telling them they do need to be inviting people, because that's really how it's going to happen. Like, you're going to have people asking questions maybe, but they have to be following up. And I get them started with those vital behaviors within that first month. I don't want to like say in the first day they have to be doing all these things, but within that first month, I want them to be really taking those action steps, because there's like 2, I feel like, types of coaches. Like the coaches that have their warm market, like right away jump on board, and then within like 3 months they run into that issue of like, okay, I've used everyone up. Or the coaches that maybe their warm market like doesn't quite trust them yet, so they have a slower start, but with that built trust comes, 3 months later, people are all kind of asking questions. So you do like fall into one of those 2 pockets, I feel like. And I try to kind of see where they're at, right? If they're struggling right off the bat and they're sharing and like no one's signing up, it might take them a minute. Like they need to just consistently share. And if they're having success right out of the gate, like I know it's not going to last forever if they're not doing the vital behaviors, right? They have to. So it's like I kind of see where they're at in that sense of like, if they're sharing and if people are starting to ask questions, and if no one's like interested at all, then I can kind of know where to guide them from there.
I love that. Okay, here's a question. What are tips to get coaches showing up to team calls?
Oh girl, that's the magic question. For a really long time, like I felt like I was having really successful coaches, but like no, I just wasn't having the numbers on my calls that I was looking for. And it was killing me, and it was frustrating, because it's like you pour all this energy. And for me, I was like doing a lot of other team calls to get other amazing guest speakers. And I was really doing a lot to get people on my calls. I think it's just patience and showing and sharing the importance of it. Like at the end of the day, everyone has like a really busy schedule and like different schedules, and it's going to be hard for everyone to show up at the same time. But I think it's just, for me now, I've seen it grown for the go-getters, the people that like are in this, want to show up, will be there. The other people might watch the recording occasionally. I don't really personally feel like there's anything that I can do besides consistently show up every single week for them, add value to them, and they can do what they want with that. But I don't really you can't force anyone to show up if they can't show up.
Good. Any questions? I still have some, but I want you guys to ask them too.
Jamie, do you have your new coaches run their own challenge groups, like once they have kind of established some challengers, or do you guys combine and run a big group?
So I've been playing around with that as well, because I used to kind of like force them out of the nest and just say like, okay, it's been, 2 months, like go do your thing. And then I kind of found like their challenges were kind of dead with like a couple people. Like I've been playing around with that recently. I've found the most success that like, if they want to join my groups and like co-lead it with me, the energy is better in the group for all of us, for all of our clients, for all of us. So I've found that to be great. And I always tell them like, if they have like 20, they're adding like 10, 20 people, like, of course, like you're good, you can do this. But I don't ever want them to feel like they have 3 challengers or 4 people that they have to go like start their own thing. And so I used to kind of like make that more of a thing. And lately I allow them that kind of decision for themselves. Like if they have a small group and they're just like, I got my people, I want to do this on my own, like that's really fun and cool too. So I kind of give them that option, but I don't ever want them to feel, because I think that's a reason people don't start and don't continue and don't work hard, is because maybe they get like too overwhelmed or there's too much. And so I feel like I'm running these groups anyways, they're good energy. Like I have a lot of clients. So I I kind of leave it up to them and tell them that they have the flexibility and the freedom with coaching to do that. Like they can either like make their own group, do it completely different from me, or they can like co-lead it with me until they're one day or eventually ready to like lead it on their own.
Okay, you have a question in the chat. My coach page is kind of dead. I'm adding new blood all the time and it's so quiet. What is your team page and culture like? How do you boost it?
That's a really good question because I actually felt that way all last year. And this year I made my goal was to really just kind of try to create like a stronger sense of community within my team, because I just was like, I want everyone to like, it's not just me posting. Like, I don't want everyone to just like have me post in there. And I wanted to create a bigger community. So we started doing like morning and night Zoom calls, like open Zooms for like the morning accountability thing, even if there's like 4 girls on, 3 girls on, just to like either do work out, do their gratitude journal, like whatever they're hopping on for. I've just kind of opened that up. And now I feel like there's like a 5 a.m. crew and a 6 a.m. crew. And they're just like now kind of developing their own like little relationships within each other, which has been really cool to see, because I don't just want my coaches to like have a relationship like through me. I've tried to like, now they have their own separate friendships going on, which is really cool and nice. So that's really helped, just having that open. And then like power hours at night, you know, maybe they're just hopping on alone, but it's more of just like a place to show up for. And maybe there's 1 other person or 2 other people. And it started to build from there. And then really just like highlighting the success of my coaches and making sure that my leaders know, like the girls that are in this, the go-getters, like I put them on a group thread and I say like, I need you guys commenting on every single new coach announcement. I need you going in there, liking, like that's your job. And so I've really made my leaders step up into that role and said that anyone who's basically a working coach, you better go like, and I talk about it on my team calls too. Like if we have a new coach, you better open your arms and say like, oh my God, so excited you're here. Like that for me was like meant so much when I joined. Like I just like had no idea who all these women were and they were like cheering me on and it was so exciting. And when I don't have that in my team page, that frustrates me. So I kind of had to like tell the girls that I know are working and say like, let's go. This is what I expect. Every single one of you should be doing that. And so now I'm checking too. Like there's a new coach announcement. I just want to make sure everybody who is working to build this is going to be in there commenting all that. So yeah, setting the expectations and just really forcing them to engage with each other. Like, yes, we're doing our own business, but let's try to come together a little bit more.
I have a question about PD. I just got back from NLC, and you know, one of the main things like throughout the whole thing is like mindset and like belief and growing as leaders and leveling up. It's like a huge takeaway for me. So what are some of your go-to PD books or like workbooks or anything that you've done that you like really, really think helped you level up and like become a great leader?
I feel like for me, it really just depends like on what I need in that moment. Cause sometimes I need more like PD, like personal development, but sometimes I need more like business. And like, so it kind of just depends on like what I feel like my soul needs at the time. Obviously I love like all of like the Rachel Hollis, Dare to Be Brave or Dare to Lead is great. Brene Brown. I'm reading like the 12-week year right now. I'm trying to kind of like structure my productivity a little bit better. Since becoming like a full-time coach, that's been like tough for me to figure out. I'm like all about like podcasts. So I just like feel like I don't like read very well. Like when I like fall asleep on books. So if I can like have a podcast or Audible, I'll read you guys like what I have in my Audible. Let's see. I've read a lot of or like listened, at least for me is helpful. I love Keith Callahan's book. The Energy Bus, Freakishly Effective Leadership was really good by Ray Higdon. You Are a Badass at Making Money. Loved that one. The Miracle Morning was great. The Compound Effect. So Being Boss, Get Over Your Damn Self was a great one for me when I like had just started and I was like all in that like mindset of fear. So I try to just feel like what I need at that time, but I also am not afraid to just like quit on a book if it's not like you know, there's nothing worse than just like going through the motions of a book or something that you just like, it's not hitting like striking a chord for you. So I definitely have like picked up a ton of books, or people recommend them that I'm like, this isn't like what I need right now. So yeah, I'm kind of like always searching for different ones like that.
Okay, this is a great question. How are you teaching your coaches to build on Instagram, follow a certain amount of people per day, 531, etc.? Like, what's your method?
So I don't have like a specific, you have to do this day. Like I don't have like a 5-3-1 thing, but I like try to teach them that like you're working essentially in like 3 different like funnels, right? Your first funnel is like connections. Your second is like invites, and the third is within follow-ups. And if you're not constantly pouring in every single day, week, month, or whatever to each of these funnels, it's not going to be something like that's fluidly like happening, right? If you're not inviting, like you're just never going to have anyone to follow up with. If you're not connecting, you're going to run out of people to invite. So it has to be this every single day thing that you are pouring into all of these buckets. If you find one of them is like, you know, you're looking through your stories and you invited everyone 100 times and like, then you're not doing enough of connections. Like then you should go hard on that. So I try to like see where they are and what they need, because I'm not like, okay, go invite, 30 people a day. Like, I don't feel like everyone is at a place where they can even do that. If they have 100 followers and they've invited, like, they need to work on building more, right? So they're going to focus more on the connection aspect. So I really just kind of try to have them look at it like that instead of like giving them specific like numbers. And I share the honest truth. Like if you're looking to like level up, you got to 10x what you think you should be doing, without having like a specific number involved. Because for me, like whenever I heard a number, it was like, I always felt like I was falling short, even though I was successful with like my own way of doing it. I couldn't send 100 invites that were authentic to me, that felt good, and when I was running out of time, that I didn't have any time to do connections. So it was just like rapid fire invites all day. No connections were coming through. So I just try to get them to focus on, okay, if they have an hour of time or if they have 2 hours of time, like how can you divide your time up so that it's, 30 minutes of only connections. Don't do one other thing. I don't want you inviting those people, like just connections, and then moving over to 30 minutes of invites and then 30 minutes of follow-ups and stuff.
I love that. That is like gold. It's like concentrate on these 3 things, split your time between these 3 things. It gets them like working on the fundamentals of growing their business.
Instead of like these numbers that really are different for everybody. I mean, it's just so hard to wrap your head around a specific number if that doesn't, number one, feel good for you and doesn't work for you. And I think if you're focusing on numbers, you're going to miss out on like those other pieces of the really important part of this.
So smart. So good. Okay, so my other question for you is, you created 6 diamonds last year. So how are you getting your team to push to diamond and past diamond?
Yeah. So like, what am I doing that I mean, I like try to really just let diamond, like let them know that like diamond it's like not a big deal. Like I really am just not like highlighting, like I'm saying, okay, before we can like even talk volume and like you want to talk business and like all that thing, like let's get you to diamond real quick, because it's just, I don't even want to have all the other conversations until they can maximize the compensation plan with diamond. So I try to just right away get them like to think about like, okay, you should be there within your first 3 months, like, because essentially it's 12 people, right? So I'm like, okay, that's simple, and all you need is a spouse account or a parent or whoever that you are kind of working with in that business, hopefully, and one other person really that's gonna get to emerald. Like it really is so simple. And I think it's like sometimes it's like that slow death to diamond. Like the longer it takes, like I still have a girl who's literally like 2 coaches away that is 2 years in. And it's just like, that's because it's taken her so long. And then I have a girl that can literally just start, hit diamond. We all have that. So the longer it takes, the harder it is. So don't make this harder than it has to be. And I just really try to tell them that and talk them through that every single day. And I get them, hopefully all my girls who are pushing for diamond in like a group, because you know, for me, when I saw one person pop, it was like they all started to level up each other and pop with each other. So I try to get all those like pushing diamonds, like in like a mini crew, and hopefully they can work together and inspire each other. And, you know, oh my God, I'm at SC6. Okay, I got one more coach. And like, I just try to get those girls and women who are really actually working to kind of like feed off of each other's energy.
So good. Okay, any last questions? Go ahead. Anybody? You guys are so quiet today. Okay.
Well, I have one. Can I?
Go ahead. Yeah, go ahead.
So I'm not sure if I missed this when you were talking. This is kind of back to tracking and like the people you're talking to each month on Instagram that are kind of like your people that you would want to work with. Are you tracking that? Like, do you keep track of them within Instagram to find them to connect with them? Do you track them somewhere else? Or sometimes I feel like I'm following so many people and trying to connect with so many people that I can't find the people that I want to work with most. So just curious how you handle that.
Yeah, I mean, and then that becomes a thing of like numbers, right? If you're like connecting with 1,000 people a month, like you're probably forgetting about them. They're probably all over the place. Like there's just you can't build a connection with like that many people. So I try to find the people that I really actually want to work with. Like you know those people, right? When you like find them and you're like, this would be my dream coach. Like this is someone I don't want to lose. So I have like a couple ways of tracking those people. I use Streak a lot. So I put like their handle in Streak and just kind of like continuing to follow up with them. I also use Instagram, like the saved posts. You know, you can create folders within Instagram. So I use that a lot, and just have like my January connections, like my January people that I want to constantly be like, okay, if I'm bored, I'm watching TV, like I'm going to my January connections and I'm not inviting them. I'm just like, I'm going to go back into checking them all out and engaging with them, checking their stories. Maybe I'll do that the next day. Maybe I'll do that 3 days later. So I try to have everything really organized in my Instagram like folders so that it just for me is super easy to work from. And then I can really focus on building those connections for a long period of time. And then in March, if I'm going back, I could always go back to my January folder and be like, let's re-engage with these people, see where they're at, you know?
That is so freaking smart. And it's the first time I've ever heard of that. And I do a lot of these types of calls and I've never heard of like the IG collection board. Like, brilliant. So good. Okay, Jamie, we will let you go. Thank you so much. This was incredible. I took a page of notes, so many great nuggets. Everyone else, I'll see you guys next week. Let me know if you need anything. And Jamie, I'll talk to you soon.
Awesome. Thank you guys.
Thank you. Bye-bye.